Okay, guys. So I wanted to do a due diligence just before I get into this particular topic because it's one that is quite delicate and quite interesting too. So the River State government under Similaya Fabara gave 300 million naira to NBA, and incidentally, it happened that Similaya Fabara is suspended, and because of the suspension, we have a sole administrator who have decided that since the NBA will not host the events, the annual general conference in River State, then they should return the 300 million naira that Similaya Fabara gave them. So there's a whole lot of controversy around it because the sole administrator is asking NBA, that the Nigerian Bar Association, to return the 300 million naira, that the 300 million naira was more like a dash or some sort of bribe to have their event hosted in River State. So everyone has been going back and forth regarding that. I mean, I've seen several analyses of people saying that for morality's sake, NBA should return the money. Some people would say that, look, the money doesn't belong to the sole administrator. The money should be is gone, and it is gone. There are a few analyses that are quite interesting and also controversial too, and I will just lead you to listen to them, and then I will come back afterwards. So watch this. I think there are several persons who had their opinions, a strong opinion around it, especially those who are of our profession, the journalism profession. So we'll take them, and then I'll get back to talk a little more about it.
You can't do this now. You can protest against the enthronement of a state of emergency. Mm-hmm. It's within their rights to protest. But everyone knows that when states give this kind of hefty money, it is also in anticipation of the benefit that the state will also get. When you host such a big event, do you know how many hotels would welcome the delegates? I moderated NBA conference 2 years ago on the security, the session on security. I moderated it. They packed velodrome in Abuja. The hall is probably one of the largest people that I had to face since I've been doing this job. The hall was filled to capacity. Now, there were so many people outside, all kinds of businesses that people are doing. The ripple effect of hosting this in a state is huge. So states do not just give such hefty money for nothing. They know what they will get in return. To give the impression that, it was just a gift. I mean, let the leadership of the NBA even show integrity.
And for the conference venue to be moved from Port Harcourt to Enugu. And the question is, why Enugu? The FCT is there. So people are even reading an ethnic coloration to it. Because I'm aware the NBA president is from Anambra. And they want Anambra State had Enugu as its capital. He was NBA chairman of the Unity Bada as the FCT chapter. How come such split-minute decision was made during his inaugural speech on the 29th of August? He just picked Rivers. So people are now asking, why the sudden interest? Nobody knew that 300 million was involved. That's a lot of money. That's taxpayers' money. And the bar is said to be a noble profession. And I think the noble thing to do, if the government of Rivers, because it is even wrong to now say whether it's a legal or illegal government, because the matter is in court, it's sub judice. So the NBA cannot now take the role of a court to say, we don't think that government there is legal. The money belongs to the government of Cross River. It is Rivers State. It is taxpayers' money. And if the government of Rivers is asking for a refund, I think the noble and honorable thing for the NBA president and the chairman of that committee to do is to refund that money. The amount we are talking about belongs to a state and it is the taxpayers' money that I'm calling with profound respect. 300 million is not 3 million naira. We are talking of a huge chunk, and it was with an understanding that you will host your event in that city. Hoteliers will benefit. People have booked their tickets, flight tickets. People have booked hotel accommodation. I give you an example. We now talk about, the government there's a constitutional crisis. This crisis started before Alpha Musigwe became NBA president, right? It's the 2023 elections that, just weeks or months, just few months after the 2023 election, that was when this crisis started. Remember, December 2024, right? The House of Assembly was demolished by the governor. That was an institution of government that was demolished. What did the NBA say? Before they accepted the gift in January, did they know that there was a crisis? Even before the hosting rights was pronounced, when it was being inaugurated on the 29th of August, was there no crisis in Rivers? I mean, yes, there was crisis in Rivers State. So that's a big question. So I think if the administrator now accuses the president or the organizers of our conference of double standard, I think it is double standards. In one breath, you accepted a gift when there was a crisis. You even talked about hosting your event when there was a crisis. In another breath, because the person who gave the gift is no longer there. I think it's a huge moral burden on the NBA. And I think the right thing to do, it's a personal opinion, is for our profession to be protected. And the only way we can protect the image of our profession is for that money to be refunded. Because the economy of that state gave out 300 million with the hope that they will benefit from the conference. Now that you are not hosting your event there, I mean, for very clearly political reasons, it is the right thing to return that money.
The norm has always been, and Governor Wike hosted effectively. In fact, that 300 million, I can tell you, cannot entirely host that event. Because I sat 2 to 3 to 4 years ago, I forget now the year particularly now, that I hosted, that the money that was spent on that event was more than this, even this amount.
But why? Why Rufai?
Hang on a minute, let me finish. Hang on a minute. See, in your state,
300 million, no.
Brutus,
State funds.
wait, in states, they try to attract these big conferences as also a bragging rights.
Okay.
So it's for them too. It brings some economic activities, yes, but it's also a thing of a bragging rights.
Okay.
That year, Governor Wike hosted us. I spoke and I left that day. This amount, yes, people even volunteered. What you should ask is, yes, the NBA might have courted them, but voluntarily the money was given. But the status of things have changed. And I think it's very cheeky by the Rivers State Sole Administration to now say, pay the money back because you are taking things
But
away.
what are they using the money for?
Thank you.
No, please, can I just ask the question? What are they using the money for?
300 million naira for an event.
Do you know the logistics involved in holding an NBA conference?
Break it down. Rufai, break down the logistics.
But it's not even happening.
Rufai, break down the logistics for us, line by line.
You have nothing less than hundreds to close to 1,000 speakers. The logistics of bringing them in, putting in them in hotels and everything, and catering to their needs. That's
where?
Why not make it virtual? Why not make it by Zoom? Why not do it by Zoom?
The point is that it's not happening.
Let the new host
It's not
state.
Can I
happening.
finish?
That's
Can I
the point.
finish?
Okay.
You guys will let me speak.
ahead,
I'm breaking the logistics for you.
Okay.
Secondly, the logistics of getting a venue for all of this. The logistics of guests coming in.
Okay.
The logistics of planning of the local organizing committee.
Okay.
All of these things cost money.
Okay.
All right?
Rufai.
So if it costs money and a state offered when the going was good, it is a gift. If things had not gone their way again this time around, the state now saying, oh, because you took it to another state, bring my money back. It is tricky because in the first place you gave it to them as a gift. And that's why the NBA has said that there was no binding agreement that because you gave us a gift that it must be hosted there.
All right, so they
all
can
of
keep
these
if that's your
also
opinion,
has been politicized.
All right.
Okay, we've heard the opinions of these interesting persons, but let me first of all address the issue of the person who was raising the thought about ethnicity. I really don't know really when we will start doing things or basing our analysis, leaving out ethnicity, and bigotry, frankly speaking, because I'm shocked at that person's analysis. Osigwe is an Iberian, and because it's an Anambra used to be, Enugu used to be under Anambra, and then because of that, he brought it to Enugu. That's if not, why not Abuja? How dumb can someone be really in trying to put up an analysis of that magnitude? I mean, I'm shocked at that analysis, frankly speaking. We've seen people do things in this country and they are not said, nobody calls them out as people who are bigoted or people who are mad or people who are chasing clouds when it comes to trying to elevate their own people. I mean, under Buhari, we all know what Buhari did in this country, and the larger part of the country didn't even make any noise. It was Nnamdi Kanu that was one that was making some noise about the fact that this man is dividing the country further. You may not agree with his modus operandi, but he called out the president and saying the president hasn't balanced his appointment and he is marginalizing the Southeast. And true to type, it is true given the number of persons that he appointed under his administration. So, and nobody spoke about it. I mean, nobody largely spoke about it. We had rumors, murmurs, about Buhari's administration. And now the president that was handed over to, that is Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is doing the exact same thing. The exact same thing. That's what he is doing. And there's this air of silence, except for few murmuring you hear from the north. This man is marginalized, is dealing with us. He's not appointing people from our own zone. Nobody ever makes noise when it is people who abuse their position to do certain things. And then you come down to an Igbo man. Not that this man is even he is even in his jurisdiction to take that kind of decision. It is not. Go and check. There are executive members of that hierarchy of the NBA. Osikwe did not take the decision alone. And in fact, it took them weeks of deliberation for that decision to be taken to move that event from Rivers State to Enugu. It wasn't his decision. He doesn't have the absolute powers like the president has in terms of appointing, firing, refiring. He doesn't. The NBA president doesn't have that. And by the way, the issue of returning the money or no returning the money, look, the NBA, what the NBA does every year is, the reason why they had that posturing of they're not going to return the money that's a gift is they go to different levels of government. They go to private sector, they go to government, they go to even charity organizations and go to individuals seeking for funds. They receive donations from different organizations to run their annual general conferences. Yes, they go to different persons, and sometimes some individuals give them, sometimes organizations give them, sometimes governments give them as a donation, a freeway donation to run their annual general conference. So if you look at how this thing is going, it is not stated explicitly anywhere that this money is given to you is because we want you to bring your conference to Rivers State. It's not anywhere because it's a freeway donation. That's the reason why similarly Fabara hasn't said a word concerning that, because it is going to be his word against the Solar Administration, and then he has been avoiding saying certain things so that he doesn't clash with the Solar Administration. After all these moves are actually to make sure that peace reigns. But trust me, it's preposterous for you to now start asking for the money in that stead, because I mean the soul and conscience of the NBA is not at the will and caprices of your morality. Is not at the will and caprices of someone's thought process. I think say no. That is the reason why they say it's a gift. Just like they have received a gift from the River State government, they have also received a gift from other persons, other individuals, which they are, of course, not at liberty to disclose to you, because it's also in their constitution not to disclose those things. So on what basis would anyone come and start telling them to return a gift they've been given to them to run their annual general conference, irrespective of... Do you know that money would have even been given to them without that conference even still held in River State? Yes. The monies would have been still be given to them without that conference still being held in River State. It is just at the will of the government that they meet, or the persons that they meet, or the organization that they meet. They decide, okay, we're donating X, Y, Z to you. And some people don't. It's not only money that they give; they donate other things to them. So this issue about based on morality is River State money, my dear. It's River State money, but someone is in control. Someone is in charge. Okay, so the MBA is not obligated to return their money. If they keep that money, it is within their right to keep the money. So let's all be guided with these, hilarious thoughts that we have from Karen Alamoda to Bogo or Bongo. And again, the movement of this meeting, they have stated clearly the reasons why. The government of River State, it is not a democratically elected government. It's a sole administrator. It's a military regime. And they're not going to host that event in a place where they don't agree with the government. It is not going to happen. And they've stated it clearly. Maybe, just maybe, if Fubara is reinstated before August, who knows? They might return it back to Rivers. Yes, it is possible. Anything is possible. This president can spring surprises. I mean, he surprised everybody. I'm not sure any analyst in the world, would have predicted that there will be a sole administrator in Rivers State, not just a sole administrator, to suspend the governor. Not just running concurrently with the governor, suspending a democratically elected government. I'm stunned. Never seen, heard anything like this before. Never done anywhere. But I haven't said that and haven't done that. They are not under any obligation. Now, let's imagine for a second that maybe the Fubara is reinstated. Of course, as it stands now, there will be people who will be making plans, contingency plans for Enugu. They've shifted the plans. I saw someone making other plans and screaming and crying that he has received over 23 million naira, and the monies that he has to start refunding people because the event is not going to be held in Rivers anymore. It's going to be held in Enugu. And he's trying to now make another plan, and was just basically lamenting about how politicians can basically destroy your life that you are trying to manage in this country. How can someone wake up one morning, suspend the government of River State, and you can imagine what has been laid before the government to do? Then look at the ripple effect, people losing their livelihood, people losing opportunities in River State, even though it might be a loss in one. Some people will say it's a gain in another, but then you have made somebody start thinking twice about the investments, because it's an investment for somebody. For that yearly event in different states that they do it, somebody puts in money in order to gain something. But now that you have the booking of hotels, everything, you can imagine how much the person would lose, because this money sometimes are non-refundable. So it's the argument is really, 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 really crazy. But I would say, if for instance this government is reinstated, say sometimes around June or July, because you have to prepare for something. You don't just think, you don't just wake up one morning and say you are trying to host an event. The event is always far ahead of time. And I'm also sure that the reason why the the reason why the president the reason why they decided to move it, because they still have ample time. If, for instance, this particular what they call it now, sole administratorship enthronement was somewhere around July, and the event was already put for August, or somewhere around June, you know, there's no way in hell they are going to even move it or touch it. There's no way, because it doesn't make it wouldn't make any sense, you know, at that time. But they saw that there's ample time. People can make all the contingency plan, and there's also a willing state that can host within a short period of time, because we are talking about, this is still April. We're talking about May, June, July, then August. It's August that they're going to host the ending of August. So they didn't see a reason why they should go ahead with hosting an event under a government that is not democratically elected, you know. So I also think that only and only if Siminalayi Fubara returns, because the relationship was between Siminalayi Fubara and the NBA. Yes, the relationship was between Siminalayi Fubara and the NBA. So, and it's not stated anywhere, it's not signed, it's not like a pact or agreement between NBA and the government of Rivers State. Like I mentioned, it's a gift take to pay for your logistics, pay for your keynote speakers. Just go ahead and do your thing. But it wasn't that, oh, we are giving you this money in order for you to bring this event. No, it was a pure gift, a gesture, kind gesture, just like every other organization. There is no reason why NBA should return that money. But if there was, then you can now start holding the NBA, you know, instead of that. NBA should actually return the money. But even if they're going to return the money, they will return the money to a democratically elected government that they dealt with, not with a government that Rivers State is alien to. Because according to the Constitution, the sole administrator has no bearing in the constitution of this country. So on what basis would he be returning monies to somebody whom they did not deal with? On what basis would they be dealing with somebody who did not deal in terms of money? If Siminalayi Fubara today now has been reinstated, let's even say he got reinstated in July, August, September or something, then you can probably think of returning the money. And in returning the money, it was going to be based on okay, we didn't on the conscience of the executives of the NBA, not even on the morality of it, because there's nothing moral about these things. That's the truth. There's nothing moral about it, except there are these things stipulated. Then nobody should hold NBA liable for, say, they took money or they took 3M. Were you there when they signed it? Were you there when they give them the money? So please, everybody should hold their peace. And this money you're talking about, so 3 million naira is like chicken change in terms of what the monies we're talking about, expenses, when you talk about, you know, organizing an event in that magnitude. So let's be guiding in our thought. I don't know what you guys think, though. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll be there waiting on it. Thank you for watching. Truly appreciate it.